Greetings fellow traders, this is Max and welcome to my Sunday market analysis where I'm gonna analyze the market and share with you my top trades for the upcoming week. And for this week I only have 4 pairs on my closer watch list with trades that I am interested in taking. Last week I got stepped out on a GBP CAD long trade. I decided not to put this potential trade into the closer watch list yet. The reason being that the setup right now is just not looking as if there was enough buying pressure. However, just a quick analysis into GBP CAD before we start with the actual list. I want to see a breakout and a retest of this area here and around psychological level in order for me to open or potentially open a new long position on GBP CAD. So now I'd like to continue with the actual list and start here with AUD CAD. So the plan here is to look for a potential long position. We had this push to the upside here and now we came back into this area which was once resistance and is hopefully now turning into support, being the retest of this push or this breakout here. You can see that this is a round psychological level, the 0.89 round psychological level. Even on the weekly chart, it almost looks like some kind of inverse head and shoulders where we broke the neckline here. Requires maybe some imagination. However, and this is a pattern that indicates a good amount of buying pressure. So now I'm just waiting for the pullback here, giving my entry signal on the lower time frame or maybe a neutral day with a liquidity sweep below this area here to then buy AUD CAD and hold it for a swing trade to the upside with the first profit target, probably being this area here again, the weekly area of interest. Fairly simple break and retest trade of AUD CAD here. If you look closely, you can even spot here an inverse head and shoulders pattern where this is the break and this is going to be the retest of this neckline here paired with a round psychological level and an area of interest. So really high probability setup for me and I'm just now waiting for my entry signals. Next pair on my list is CAD JPY. So in the weekly chart you can see this really green weekly wick here after this red wick, indicating that there has been a lot of buying pressure again coming back into the market. And you say that this was leaving quite a really big wick here, which is probably getting filled in the coming week, and if it does I would like to profit off of that. You can see here we had even this breakout of this weekly inverse head and shoulders pattern here with this neckline, and you started pushing. This was essentially the retest. We have the rejection now and leaving the wick. So now I'm just waiting for price to come back into the area, even this round psychological level, 106 round psychological level. I want to see a liquidity sweep below, giving me my entry signal, showing bullish power on the lower time frame. We're almost there, but I want to see a small sweep here before I decide to enter a long position on CAD JPY, and then I'm going to hold this trade probably up until this area here, 108 round psychological level. So potentially a really nice risk reward ratio. Now just gotta be patient for it to wait for this weekly wick down, which I hope is kind of going to be the retest. Usually before such a wick fill you see some wick down. Even here you can see it here before we fill the wick, and I expect this to be the liquidity sweep to then enter a long position on CAD JPY. Next pair on my list is Euro GBP. So Euro GBP has been in a very phenomenal strong uptrend here. Now what I want to see, we have the weekly candlestick leaving a big wick here. So I want to see a wick down back into this area of interest and this round psychological level here, the 0.86 round psychological level. This is going to be the retest and the liquidity sweep. I first want to see some liquidity being swept here and then showing me some neutral candles or just neutral price movement in order for me to open a long position and buy Euro GBP, then profit off of the next move to the upside. However, could also be that we are going to experience some further resistance for now, or maybe we come back into this area and retest this first. Then this trade is still valid for me and I would just enter in this area here, but for now I'm waiting for the retest here to then probably hold it up until the last high somewhere around this level. And for now it's time to be patient and wait for price to come back into the area and then give me my entry signal. The next pair, and already the last pair on my list for this week, is a relatively short list for this week, but that's just because I do not see any really clear setups on the other pairs, but I will talk a bit about it later on. So for now I am looking for a potential long entry here on GBP NZD. I have been in a long trade here before, but then got stopped out break even, unfortunately, but it came back into the area. So that's kind of sad, but it is what it is, you know, can't win every trade. So now what I want to see is we had this push to the upside here again, and price came back into this round psychological level here, the 2.24 round psychological level, an area of interest where price is being rejected several times, and it showed quite a good amount of support here. In order for me to enter and get a really good risk reward ratio, I want to wait for price to come a little lower, give me a higher low entry here, being then some kind of also inverse head and shoulders pattern. This would have been a really nice higher low, but since I failed to enter there and wouldn't really have been an option for me, I just want to wait maybe for a neutral day or a day to come down into the area here and then open a long position. Kind of higher risk, because I would the best idea for me would actually be to enter around this area, so maybe price will come back even this low and then give me my bullish signal to open a long position here. But for now I'm just going to be patient and wait for price to form a higher low to then potentially open a long position here on GBP and ZD. But as of right now, really neutral month, and the weekly wick could be getting filled this time, so that's why I gotta be careful. Hasn't happened here, but we see it ranging quite a good amount, so maybe it's time for it to have a bigger correction now, but that's why it is important to be patient. And that's already it with the list for this Sunday market analysis. As I said, the other pairs didn't give me a really clear setup for the coming week, but I have set price alarms there. If one of those alarms is getting triggered, I will have a look at those pairs again and try to find potential trade setups that I am interested in taking, and I will share them in my free Telegram channel, which you can join at any time for free. I will put the link to it into the video description. I will post my trade entries and exits there and regular trade updates about the running trades that I have. You will also find a link to my other socials in the video description. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below and I will try to answer your questions. Thank you for watching. I wish you a successful trading week. Remember to manage your risk properly, and see you next Sunday.